Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Plan B Success, Episode 11. What I'd like to do today is to discuss a case of a failed, not exactly a failed, but a fallen entrepreneur, and then reflect on it a little bit with you. Some of you have heard about this, some of you it might be news, but this happened on the eastern side of the world in India. VG Siddhartha, the founder, chairman, and managing director of Coffee Day Enterprises, also known as Coffee King, went missing on a bridge over River Netravati near Mangalore, Karnataka, India, the southern part of India, on July 29 this year, only to be found 36 hours later as a dead body making its way into the sea. Now, his professional journey, coming from a family of 135-year-old coffee growers in South India, was one where he had grown up on coffee farms throughout his life, and his family was mainly focused on supplying the world with rich South Indian coffee. So he went from there to be one who was supplying coffee across the world to an entrepreneur who established an enviable chain of a few thousand wholly owned retail coffee stores, not just across India, but in about another 5 countries, and it's nothing short of phenomenal. He rewrote the coffee consumption story of India and became the person responsible for creating a new ambience and experience of how coffee should be consumed, not just for millennials, but other generations too, who lacked the access to a retail coffee experience in hip stores and locations before. He created in the East the concept that we experience with Starbucks in the West. Siddhartha founded Coffee Day in 1993 and opened the first Cafe Coffee Day, a retail store in the growing Silicon Valley of India, Bangalore, now known as Bengaluru, 3 years later. But within the first 2 years, between 93 and 95, he became the largest Indian exporter of coffee to the world. Since then, the company has grown into India's biggest coffee chain, and the company went through an IPO too recently in 2015 to a lukewarm response. Based on the 2018 annual report that's available on their website, they have about 2,700 retail units and 47,500 plus vending machines within corporate offices across India. Later, they are known to have closed several stores due to business issues, and it's estimated that currently there are about 1,700 locations across 245 Indian cities, and there are some other stores in some international destinations too. By the way, Starbucks is estimated to have about 150 stores in India, so there goes, that gives you a comparison. Siddhartha catapulted to the billionaire club in 2015 with an estimated net worth of $1.2 billion. Now, the 2018 annual report on the company website provides you some more information, which is pretty interesting. It says that the coffee industry in India is set to grow at a CAGR of over 11% in the next 3 years. They also reported coffee retail gross revenue growth of 12% in 2017 and 18, and it goes on to state that there have been constant same-store sales growth over the last 25 quarters. Now, the key performance indicators on their 2018 annual report also provide more information around their gross revenues, their EBITDA, and such. Now, their gross revenues, based on that annual report in 17 and 18, are pretty close to where their debt is right now. And I think that's where the whole issue began, and we'll get into that in a minute. Now, apparently, the company is said to have done well during its first 10 to 15 years, after which it took some heavy loans, the debt I just talked about, and the chairman was having issues paying it back. He's said to have liquidated his shares recently in a popular IT firm, which was sold to another firm, and he took the money and used it to pay back some of those loans. He seems to also have had tax issues with the government that curbed his liquidity. Moreover, there was pressure from the private equity firms who had invested in the company for him to buy back shares to help with the share price. So with mounting pressure on all ends and a lack of liquidity, he ended up writing a letter on the 27th of July addressing the shareholders, the staff, the board of directors, everyone, saying that he's taking complete responsibility for being a failed entrepreneur, and because of all these pressures, he just asked them to excuse him. He basically apologized in the letter. And 2 days later, he disappeared, and 36 hours later, they found his dead body. Now, let me share some more data with you at a higher level. According to the Indian Ministry of Corporate Affairs, of the 1.9 million companies registered with the government, and this is in 2018, about 680,000 of them, or roughly 36%, closed that year. Now, the previous year, that close ratio was at about 20%. Now, that's a pretty steep growth from one year to the next. The share of dormant companies, those under liquidation and under the process of strike-off, is less than 3%. So these are the ones probably that have the most trouble. Now, the point I'm trying to make is that every day we're inundated with the success stories of companies that have raised money, many of them. We see it every single day. Companies that have made an exit or have gone through an IPO, a handful of them. And then there are the stories such as VG Siddhartha's, where pressures of running a business, oftentimes battles are fought alone by the entrepreneur, and they take a toll. Sad but drastic actions are taken by such entrepreneurs, and they come to light when it happens to somebody big, somebody who's known nationally and internationally, and when the national and international community talk about them, as in the case of VG Siddhartha, since they're so well known. But in the dark streets and corners of entrepreneurship, there are several such entrepreneurs that take risks to keep their dreams and their employees' jobs afloat, fight their battles alone, and unfortunately have sad endings. Entrepreneurship is not all guts, glamour, and glory. There are failures too, and we need to recognize that. A strong ecosystem is needed to ensure that the fall is not so bad when it happens, and that we don't have such drastic incidents. PE firms, venture capitalists, the banking system, the government, tax bodies, employees, and entrepreneurs. This is the ecosystem. And this ecosystem needs to find ways to make entrepreneurship flourish. There will be failures, no denying that, but the way they come down can be worked on, can be improved, so that the passion and the zeal to do something different and work hard to get it right does not die with such entrepreneurs who have a failure. If you find value in what you hear, please make sure you subscribe, and please do share it with others. Leave a review and a comment on your favorite platform. Thank you.